Good afternoon, everyone. This is Phat Talk, and my name is Candace Smith. I'm so excited to be here with you today. I have a very special guest. Her name is Tiffiney Neal, and I always just get excited when people reach out to me. I'm not always able to get into my inbox the way I want to, but I love it when people reach out to me to share their stories. It just means so much. And this young lady, that's exactly what she did. She reached out to me and shared with me a little bit about her weight loss journey. She sent me pictures first. And I was like, oh, wow, now that's a big difference because, being a plus size woman myself, I know what it means to get into that weight loss thing. It's not easy. That's why I'm still plus size. So I have to give props where it's due to women that have really, gotten disciplined, made up their mind, made a decision, and decided to go on this weight loss journey. So I'm so excited to welcome Tiffiney Neal here today on Phat Talk. Tiffany, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And thank you so much for this opportunity for me to be able to tell my story. It's very important for me to be able to get the word out to my fellow friends and family and people.
Yes, definitely. Like, I'm glad you want to talk about it. I really am because, I understand sometimes when you're going through different things, it's not easy because all parts of it are not glamorous. And a lot of times when we see people posting their pictures of their weight loss, that's the only thing we see is the before and the after. We have no idea what they've gone through to get to that other side. So to see, and to be able to hear you say all of the things that you've gone through to get to that after, it's like really amazing. And you're like a miracle. We're kind of talking to a miracle today. So let's just jump right into it. What was your starting weight when you said
Well,
to lose weight?
that depends because I've started several times, but my absolute heaviest, I believe, was 459 pounds ish, around in that area.
Wow. So what was everyday life like at 459 pounds? What was it like just doing everyday things? Because I noticed with my weight at different weights, I feel differently. My whole demeanor is different. It just feels different. So how did it feel for you?
Well, being 459 pounds, um, it was it was it was quite quite just depressing. Um, what actually happened? What actually happened was I had a basketball goal to fall on me, and then what ended up happening was I ended up going on steroids, which that's what helped pack on the weight for me, which is how I got to the 459 pounds. Okay, so
Okay.
then after that, what happened was my husband and I, he got stationed in Germany. So during that time, the gastric banding had just come out, and I opted for that because they were telling me I was going to have a difficult time with all the steroids that I was taking, the pain pills, and all the other painkillers that they had me on to just try to mask the pain of my back was keep adding weight on. So then I went ahead and I did that. Now upon taking that journey was going into a hospital where nobody spoke English except for the doctors. The fact that knowing you were having a procedure done overseas, and when you come back to stateside, you might not get anybody to be able to manage it or take care of it, as necessary, to be able to monitor you um, when it was necessary. So therefore, but I was rest assured, by all the doctors over there and by the Americans that, I wouldn't have any issues coming back stateside. So therefore I did. I embarked upon that journey, and I had the gastric banding done. What happened with that was when they went in to adjust the banding. For those people who don't know what the gastric banding is, it's where they take a rubber band type apparatus and they put it around your stomach, and then there's a port that they secure between two of your rib bones. And then how it gets adjusted is they take a large needle and they stick it in that port, and then they'll either add saline solution or remove saline solution, and that what allows them to manage your stomach, which manages what you eat if something gets stuck. So it's their way of kind of fixing it a little bit externally. So once I have this procedure done, it worked great for a while, and then I had a student doctor. He came in and he poked a hole in it. So the needle went straight through the apparatus and hit my rib. Of course, I came up off the table screaming and giving him a couple of profanities.
Oh my
And
God.
along with my husband, he was there at the time, and we were kind of like, "What are you doing? Didn't I tell you don't do that?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. No, sorry, ain't gonna fix it now." So fast
Oh my
forwarding a
God.
couple of years, I came back stateside. When we came back stateside, all the while I'm complaining that it's not working, it's not working, it's not working. Finally got a doctor in Kentucky, Tennessee borderline that was willing to, take a look at me, see what's going on. Come to find out, I was absolutely correct in the fact that when he did put that needle through, it did puncture it, and there was a hole. So therefore, I'm just having saline solution just leaking in my body. So I went to my insurance company at the time and told them, what was going on, as well as the doctor, reporting to them, letting them know that this needs to be removed. It needs, because it's not functioning like it should be. So they told them, no, we'll give you money to go in and to fix it. And then, we'll continue on with the journey that way. So, needless to say, from that point on, I kept deteriorating. My health kept deteriorating. I kept telling them, no, it's a problem. Something's wrong. I can't eat. I can't drink. Nothing is going in. So then I go back to my doctor, and then he looks, he goes back in um, and he's looking, and he said, I think it slipped. I said, I'm sure it has slipped. So in about a 2-week time period, what happened was I ended up collapsing in the hospital, and they ended up wheeling me to the back because I had been in several times for them to give me intravenous fluids and things like that because it was blocked. So I had no access to my stomach at all. They ended up taking me to the back. They ended up trying to scope me. They couldn't scope me. I ended up waking up at a different facility over in Tennessee. They told me that they was waiting for my insurance to approve the removal of the whole banding. They were just done with it. They was like, we're just going to get it out. Upon this time, at that time, my husband was stationed overseas in Korea. My parents were 8+ hours away from me in the state of Illinois. I was in Kentucky at this time. I had no family. I had friends. Military becomes your family and your friends. But during this time, they had to take care of my children. My parents didn't even know I was in the hospital. So I had to do a living will. I had to do a will because by this time, everything from the neck down was pretty much gone. Like I didn't have any veins. I blew all my veins that they were using to give me IV. So I'm about approximately the age of probably about 27 at this time. So imagine, you got small kids and you're having to do a living will and a will at the same time because you don't know which one you're going to need. So pretty much that gives you time to make peace with everything and figure out, what it is that you would like to do if you continue this gift of life, and if not, to make sure all your affairs are in order.
Right.
So I had all that done, and the doctor came in and he talked to me and he said my insurance wouldn't approve them to take it out.
Oh
I
my
said,
God. No.
are you kidding me? And he said, no. He said they're not approving it. They're still stuck. So when he came in, I was very kind of lethargic, in and out. And he made the call. He said, you know what? His wife also, she was a doctor. As far as bariatric surgery, she worked on patients as well. And I got to know the family really, good over the past couple of years of them just servicing this band. And they just said, in all good honesty, we cannot stand by and just watch you die because your insurance don't want to pay for this at this point in time. So I was immediately wheeled back to the operating room, and at this point in time, um, friends of my husband at that time contacted my parents and told them about the situation. So can you imagine getting a call? Your daughter's getting ready to go in surgery, and we don't know if she's going to make it or not. You need to get down here as soon as possible. So they lay me on the gurney. So I'm in the operating room, and I'm looking up. I have three nurses on my right side. I have two doctors on my left side, and they're telling me, they said, okay, at this point, what's going to happen is we have two chances to save your life. We have the vein on the right side of your neck, and we have the vein on the left side of your neck.
Mm.
After that, um, we're pretty much out of options. So all I could do was just lay there and cry because I just seen my babies, not getting to see them grow up, and
Right.
not getting to see any family. So the doctor says, all right, he says, but I will tell you this, when we feel like we are in, then you're going to go right to sleep. It's not going to be no counting backwards. It's not going to be no none of that. We're going right in, and we're going to take this out. So he sticks me in the right side of my neck, and pretty much you can just look at everybody's face and tell, nope, that was a no-go. So it didn't
Mm-hmm.
work. So now reality has hit, and I know that my best chance of surviving is for them to get this vein in the left side of my neck. All the while they're sticking me in my neck, there's no lidocaine, there's no none of that numbing because I couldn't feel anything anyway. Um, so then, needless to say, they got it on the left side. I went right to sleep. I
Mm.
woke right up, and my mother was standing over me. So at that point in time, I was, I was pretty ecstatic. Words can't really describe it, knowing
Right.
that, I'm back here with my family. So I have a guardian angel up there somewhere that took care of me
Oh,
during this time.
that is
So
amazing. Like I can't, it's just like how much can one body take? That was a lot for your body to endure. That was a lot for you mentally to endure and emotionally. And it's a few things that I want to comment on because it's just like a few things stuck out to me. First of all, with your weight gain, you mentioned the steroids. And a lot of people I feel like come down really hard on plus size people, not being aware of the fact that there are other things that cause weight gain besides food.
right. And what happened, what actually occurred was me and my best friend, then we would go walking every day. So we were healthy. It's not like we were just overweight and not trying to control our diet and our eating and, drop a pound or two here or there. But
Right.
when I walked in her house, my kids and her children were playing on this basketball goal. The basketball goals where you have to put sand in the bottom, or you have to
Right.
put water in the bottom, or you see a
Yeah.
tire on it or a brick. However, people choose to, secure it. It was secured. That's how it was secured. And now, mind you, these kids are probably the ages between 5 and 10, 10 being the oldest. So everybody's just running around and and they're playing on this goal, and so we're walking back out to get into the truck so that way we can resume our normal walk and do things that we normally do. So upon leaving the house, I felt a bunch of pressure on the base of my neck, and then
Mhm.
next thing I know, I was on my face, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh my God, what happened?" And what had happened was the basketball goal had fell, and it
Mhm.
fell and caught me at the base of my neck. Of course,
Mhm.
I was branded from a long time because the sun had heated up that metal, so I had an actual burn at the
Oh my
base of my neck
God.
from the rim, and then just the weight of that goal being so high up
Yeah.
falling on me, it knocked me to the ground. And at that time, I was I want to say maybe like 230 pounds. So I was
Mhm.
still pretty thick, still a pretty big girl. And when I went to the ER, that's how they felt to treat me was with steroids. But what they don't
Okay.
tell you, steroids is add the pounds. So if you have asthma or any kind of bronchial type breathing disorder, they normally do give you steroids. They give you steroids for other things as well, but they gave me steroids to kind of ease the pain of what I was going through. They never thought to do the back test to, check my spine out, or check my arm out or whatever. They just was like, okay, take these pills and, call me whenever, you know.
Right.
So that's how I ended up with it. And then with all the pain medication as well can cause weight gain.
Yeah, and
So,
you know what? There's something else that I really feel like we have to really talk about is, when we're going to doctors, I don't know if you did this, but I have been guilty of this. Is just allowing them to tell me anything, allowing them to say this is the best course of action for you without them really going into depth about what is this going to cause, how is this medication going to alter me physically, how is it going to alter me in my life and me being able to perform my duties and working and different things like that. What are all of the options? And when you were talking, I just remembered like going to the doctor just recently and just feeling so rushed by them. I'm
of
going
course,
in for something important because it's pertaining to my health and my life. And it's like you're rushing, rushing, rushing me. You're not really taking the time to make sure that I'm good.
of course, Candace. Of course, they're going to rush you. They want to get you in and out as fast as possible. They have all these drug companies that's pushing these meds on them for them to use them. So, I mean, that's what their biggest thing is. So they can, some of them, not all, and I'm not saying all doctors are bad, but all they
Mhm.
want to do is get us in and get us out. And as speaking for myself, as being an African American, I felt that it was more so with me than it was with anybody else. They didn't want to take the time. All they wanted
Right.
me to do was take these pills, and whatever ailed me was supposed to magically go away. And in the
Right.
beginning, yes, I was just like everybody else. Okay, yeah, all right. You think I need steroids? Okay, I'm gonna take steroids. Oh, you think I need this? Oh, I'm gonna take that.
Right.
Without really questioning, what was going on in my life. And then you coming home and you have 20, 30 pills that you're taking. I'm not talking about like just in one day. I'm talking about at a time. Like I was on probably I'm gonna say about 60 pills. Like it was ridiculous the amount of medication that I had to take just
Wow.
to sustain myself. And really I wasn't even doing that. I just feel like I was just existing. I wasn't living because by this time I have a nurse that has to come in and she's having to help me with my hygiene because now I'm packing on the pounds. So,
Mhm.
I'm like 459 or ish pounds. So she has to come in, help me comb my hair, help me take a shower, help me with tying my shoe, just daily
Right.
routines that normal people would do on their own that I
Right.
couldn't do because it was too painful.
Right.
My back hurt so bad, and they're just like looking at me like, okay, she's back again. When I go into these doctors, oh my God, she's back again. And then
Right.
it wasn't until I started
Ugh.
saying, oh, it's got to be some kind of test for y'all to take to prove to me that what you think that I'm lying, because that's what I got a lot. Oh, she's just fat. Oh, she just don't have nothing else to complain about. It's because her weight. It's because she's so fat.
Right.
It was everything was because I was so fat. But what got me here was the steroids of you pushing all this medication on me and
Right.
not really explaining to me or giving me a concrete um exactly what's going on with my body. At
Right.
this time, you're not giving me, any concrete answers, to a real solution to how we can come together and we can fix this so that way I can thrive and move on, and really be a benefit to my family, to myself, be happy,
Right.
live this life, and it was just, oh my God, it was just
We
one after
we
another,
we
as far as
we really have to force the doctors to care about us. I have
and
recognized that I cannot walk into a doctor's office or a hospital emergency room and expect them to care about me, because they do look at us, and there is research behind this. I'm not just saying this. There is research that shows that they look at our black bodies as not experiencing pain in the same way as white people. And that's fact. There is like
right,
research, there have been other conversations talking about this very thing globally. And so we really have to do our due diligence when it comes to our health. What are the names of the medication? Let me Google that really quick. Let me think about this, because I have been in several situations where they try to rush these serious decisions on you. They rush the birth control. They rush, altering your birthing part. Let me go ahead and tie your tubes. Let me go ahead and do this, making you take sometimes the more drastic method to to handle it, when you don't really have to do such a drastic thing, but they do it to not have to have a conversation with you about what's best for you. And so, I have just come to recognize, like, I have to take 100% action and pay attention, because I grew up under the impression that a doctor cares about you. If you're going to this doctor, if you've chosen to go to this doctor, you're going to build a relationship where they're going to make sure that you will remain healthy. And that's not the case, and that's not a lot of experiences for Black women. It's basically where we're brought in, we're rushed in like cattle, stall for 5 to 10 minutes. We also don't really have a lot of trust in the healthcare institutions as Black people. So therefore, it's a lot of mistrust. So we don't always be open about what we're experiencing. We're not always sharing these things with our doctors. So then a lot
right.
of things go unnoticed.
But what we need to do is become more proactive. If you're having a symptom, you need to Google it, look it up. And when you
Yes.
write it down, medications. Okay, if you're feeling some type of way, look it up and write it down. That's how I started my transformation. That's how I changed how they were treating me. Because they would be like, oh no, we want to give you. I said, oh no, there's another avenue that we can take other than you giving me all these steroids and adding more weight. Oh no, there's this test that you guys can take to actually, perform it on my spinal cord, and then I can know for certain it's this, that, and the third. So we have to become proactive about our own health care, because once they see that you coming in there and you're armed with information and they just can't do anything or tell you anything, their whole demeanor changes, because they know that you're going to be proactive. And that's what we have to start doing as African Americans.
I totally agree. I totally agree. So another thing that I wanted to point out that you were talking about is going over to when you went to the other country, you went to Germany, right?
Yes,
You were there because your husband is in the military, so he was stationed there. So obviously, you and the family were there, and so you had the procedure there. Now, what was it? Did they do anything differently than what would have happened in the United States?
at that time, I want to say no because it was new. This was right when the gastric band just came out, so all
Hmm.
of this was new. I think to a lot of the doctors, but since it was a weight loss management type program that was founded over there, they felt like I would get the best care in Germany, and then by us being Americans, they would offer us the best care.
Okay, so was this a trial, or did you go through insurance? Were you found medically needy for this?
Correct, I was.
Okay,
Because
okay.
yes, because the steroids, I really started packing on the pounds, and I just couldn't lose the weight. It wasn't like I wasn't trying. It wasn't like I didn't do
Right,
diets. I just couldn't get it off.
right. One thing I definitely want to do is, we have to have the opportunity to express ourselves as Black women and to talk about everything without the fear of being shamed. You know, um, I hear a lot of women, just because I talk to a lot of different plus size women, I do hear them when they're talking about their weight loss journeys. Well, I was doing this and I was doing that. It's like we always feel the need to justify it when it's like, you know what? It's okay. We're not the only ones. We are not the whole population of plus size people. But I do feel like we get a lot of the negative impact of it, like, oh, we're lazy, or, versus, other races, when they're plus size, they're not necessarily always looked at like that. And that's my personal opinion. That's just from me talking to people and just me sitting back and observing things. I have come to that conclusion that immediately when it's a Black person that's overweight, it's like automatically we're judged as, oh, you just was sitting around eating the wrong things. You was just sitting around not exercising. You weren't doing anything. You weren't taking any measures to be healthy. And that's simply not true. So there are a lot of things that come into play and determine whether a person is going to be heavier or they're lighter, or if they're going to be healthy or unhealthy. Because most of my life, I've been healthy and plus size. Like, I get my physicals, and the only thing that they've said to me one particular time was that my good cholesterol was low. So I had to do certain things to correct that. And once I did that, and then I've always had like iron and been anemic. So I've had to do
Right.
certain things with that. But for the most part, it's not like I've had just to where my weight has affected whether or not I was healthy. But a lot of times, the first thing that people will comment on, or if they're trying to give advice, is, pertaining to get out, get fit, go do something. I'm like, you have no idea. I walk almost every day and I've always been active. So, calm down because you don't know what you're talking about.
Right, and
Get a
and they
little
perceive they do. They perceive all of us like that. I'm like you. I don't believe that it's related to any color. I really think they discriminate against all of us as plus size people. They haven't walked a day in our shoes, so they don't know what our journey is from day to day. I think my personal opinion also is I feel like we as plus size women, men, and children, I feel like we do a lot more than other people do all day because we're more aware of okay, and we're more conscious of we need to exercise, we want to exercise, we're trying to be healthy or get this weight off, whatever it is that we determine that we would like to accomplish. So I think that what happens a lot of times is a lot of people are afraid to answer um, or ask, I'm sorry, a lot of people are afraid to ask other people what they've done, to get where they are. Do you understand
Okay.
what I mean? Like
I
with
do.
me and my journey, a lot of people are afraid to come up to me and say, "Okay, well, I heard you had the gastric. Okay, well, I just have a couple of questions. Are you willing to ask us?" Because I'm
Right.
sure a lot of us are willing and would love to share our experience with you. Some have had great experiences and haven't had any complications, and then there's other people like myself that I just feel like that's all I've been going through is complications with this. So I want everybody to be well informed. And my thing is also this is when you go to the doctor, take a good friend, a spouse, a mate,
Yes.
somebody who loves and cares about you, because they could be the actual defining moment of that aha. When you get that aha, because
Right.
they'll ask the questions that you're probably not even thinking about. So allow them to go and allow them to be proactive as well, with your health. Okay, well, how long is she going to be down? Is she going to need this? Is she going to need
Right.
this?
Right.
What are we looking at?
Yeah.
How exactly is this going to affect her? Because a lot of times we get in there and we get nervous and then we get tongue tied and we're like, okay, I have this list of questions, but I'm not going to ask. But that person that come with you, oh, they want to know. Trust
Right.
me, they want to know. So they're going to ask all those questions that you might be afraid to ask, and they're very vital. They're very vital to your healing.
I, you
And
know what?
and
I have to totally agree with that. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead
oh
and finish
no,
what you're saying. I'm
oh
sorry.
no, oh no, because I mean, I'm enjoying this because it's actually an open-ended conversation. It's like you're asking the questions that people are afraid to ask me. When
I
they see me
agree.
in public. Really,
I agree.
I'm being honest. Yes, they don't
Well,
want to ask me because they feel like, oh, well, she's not going to tell me. Oh, well, it's none. And we as black people have this bad. Well, that ain't none of my business. Well, that ain't none
you
of my
know
business.
that
Look,
that's
in
exactly
six
what
months, it's going to affect you because you're getting ready to have the gastric bypass. So yes, it is your business. You know
it
what I
is.
mean?
I agree. But one thing I
Yeah.
want to say is, a lot of times as women, I feel like we're funny about talking about our weight. We already kind of just, I've grown up with that impression that it's like, you don't ask a woman about their weight. You don't ask them how much they weigh. I don't know if that's a Southern thing. I don't know, but that's the impression that I kind of have. So, and then on top of that, by me working with this magazine, let me be honest with you. I've approached some of the most beautiful plus size women, just beautiful women, period, that I've ever encountered. And when I come up to them sometimes and I say, I have a plus size publication, would you want to ever do anything or whatever? I've gotten some mixed responses, that makes me kind of give pause because even though you could clearly see that certain people are plus size, they don't always want to identify with that. And so therefore they're like, I kind of feel like it gives people pause sometimes to inquire about it or talk about it. Some women are not comfortable talking about the issues that they have with their weight. And, it really goes deep because a lot of times the things we're dealing with the weight is more mental and emotional. So it really goes beyond, okay, what you're eating. It's more so, why are you eating it? And those are the things that people don't necessarily want to talk about. But we need to have a space to talk about it amongst ourselves because that is where the support comes from. We have to be comfortable enough around each other to talk about it in order for me to ask you and say, okay, come to my doctor's appointment with me. Come here with me.
Right.
So, I have to be able to be vulnerable enough around you. And I don't feel like, first of all, as African American people, we do that. We don't allow ourselves to be vulnerable and we don't allow people around us to be vulnerable enough to talk about these things in a way that we can help each other. So the support system is absolutely important, but it's important to not just grab somebody to go with you. Like you said, they have to be somebody that care about you. They have to be somebody that know what they're going for. They know, okay, I'm here to make sure that my friend gets all of her questions answered. Because you do get that mechanic feel. That's what I feel like when I go to the
Right.
mechanic and my car it stops acting up, or I don't know what to tell them. I just say it's doing a clicking sound.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
really able to tell them what I need. So it's good to have that person there that maybe can help communicate what you're feeling and what you're experiencing. So sometimes you have to even look outside of having a friend. Sometimes you have to go to somebody that's knowledgeable. Like, for instance, if I'm going to have this procedure, I'm going to go talk to Tiffany.
Right.
I'm going
Right.
because she's
That
going
yeah.
through it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And and I've had people to talk to me like a lot of people say, hey, well, I'm thinking about having the bypass or whatever, and then I'm going in depth about my story, and I tell everybody my story is not everybody's story. So just because my story ended up the way that it did doesn't mean your story's going to come out the same. But I do have some pointers and some questions for you to ask, when you go in and see your surgeon, because it's important, and real quick, this one lady that I know, she works at a clothing store, and she's white actually, and when I went in there and I told her about my procedure, she says, "Oh, I'm gonna have it, and I'm excited." And she was like, "What happened with you?" And I told her what happened with me, and so she was kind of, she was thinking, "Well, maybe I don't want to have it." I said, "No, don't base your current situation on what I went through."
Right,
So I always go and check on people that tell me that they're going to have it, because I feel like if you're open enough to tell me, then you might need a little support. So
right.
I went in and seen her. Actually, I want to say it was about 2 weeks ago when I went in and saw her, and she thanked me. She said, "You know what?" She said, "I don't understand where you came from. I don't know where you came from. I don't care where you came from." She said, "But you're an absolute lifesaver." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And she said that she started having some issues with her stomach, and
Mhm.
they didn't want to scope her. And I told her, I said, "Well, they should scope you to make sure that your stomach is able to receive the bypass surgery, because if you have ulcers, if you have some really bad reflux, if you have anything like, let's say you just been sick for a while, they need to go in and see the condition of your stomach before they make one cut on you, because once they cut you to go in to do it, it's too late.
Right.
It's too late. A scope, they just actually go down your mouth and they go down your esophagus and they look at your stomach and they can tell a lot. Well, what happened with this lady was she was like, "No, my friend said I need to get scoped. I need to get scoped." And she was very persistent. And so they scoped her. Come to find out, she has some kind of rare form of cancer in her stomach.
Oh my God.
Yes,
Oh my
yes,
God.
yes. So if they had to cut her, that could have ended her life. It could have been so detrimental to her because they don't know how fast it's spreading. They didn't even know it was there. She really wasn't having really like real issues. I think she had maybe like a little reflux. I mean, something that they gave her some Prilosec for. You see what I mean? They always pushing pills. They gave her some Prilosec for and really didn't give her a real answer. But by me being so persistent about her getting that scope, now they've taken her off the table because she can't have bariatric surgery right now. They got to assess her situation. So that's why it's so critical that you do talk to somebody who has had the surgery, who might have the surgery, who have any knowledge of it. And I tell people all the time, please feel free to hit me up. I have no problems answering any question. Don't think any question is too personal, because if it is, then I'll tell you. I'm that type of chick. But most of the time, no, I'm going to answer it, because if you have enough courage to ask it, that means you need to know the answer.
And
So,
Tiffany, I just want to applaud you for doing that because So many times people go through things and then they go through them and then they just live their best life. They don't reach back or go back and be a support system or a guiding light to the next person that's coming to say, okay, this is how I really made it through. I know you see my before and after picture, but these are the things that you may encounter. And I want to help you avoid what I went through. I want to make sure that you get through it as well. And sometimes people don't do that. So the fact that you're doing that, you're already like advocating for so many people that, may run into certain issues. And she was right. You saved her life.
Yeah, so this is why I do this. This is why I'm so proactive about this whole surgery because it's a lot to it. They don't tell you everything going into it because they want to get this money. Because
Yeah,
just imagine all the people that have bariatric surgery. Now think of it, and we'll just say we'll multiply by 20,000. $20,000 for all these people. Look at how rich these doctors are getting for having. You see what I mean? For having
right.
this, but they don't. They're not going to tell you the negative because they what? They want that money. They want to sustain their lifestyle, and you're their clientele to do that, to do just that, to help them sustain their lifestyle. Now, I'm not speaking of all the doctors before everybody come bum rushing my inbox and my email and my Twitter and Facebook and all that. I'm not saying all of the doctors because there are truly some doctors out there that really do care about you as a person. And I'm blessed to say that I had my surgeon was the best, and I would recommend him to anybody.
Okay. Well, you know what,
Right.
Tiffany, that's our time for today, but this has been an awesome, awesome conversation. And I want to continue this conversation on over to Phatabulous Magazine blog. You can check the details in the post because I'm going to also be writing an article about you, talking more about the insurance side that you mentioned and also talking about the things that can go wrong with these type of procedures because like you mentioned, it's just good to be aware of it. It shouldn't deter you from making your decision, but we do have to be aware of the things that can go wrong when we're making choices like this. So I want
Man.
to extend an invitation to everyone to go right on over to the blog post, check out the rest of Tiffany's story there. Also, you can read in the description different ways that you can reach out to Tiffany yourself. If you are getting ready to go through this procedure, are you available? Will you leave an email or contact some type of way, Tiffany, with me?
Oh
Um,
yes.
yeah. So
I
we'll.
have
Mhm.
Facebook, a more Miss Hollywood um, hyphen model. I
Okay.
have that's my Facebook page. Also, you can look me up under Tiffany Neal, but I think I'm at 5,000 people, so I don't think that I can add you as a friend. But you can always inbox me. It's always open to inbox, and I will always check that and read that. Also, I'm on Twitter, more Miss Hollywood. That's spelled AMOR space MZ space Hollywood. And that's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can just run it together. Or more Miss Hollywood.
All right. So definitely check out Tiffany Neal. Tiffany, thank you so much for
You're
coming
so
on here
welcome.
today, sharing your story. Like I just had to rush to reach out to you and say yes. I want to definitely share this with my audience because you were able to just bring out a lot of good points that affect a lot of women in the plus community as they're deciding to make these choices that can greatly alter their lives. So thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for being brave and determined to help somebody through your personal experience.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for allowing me this time. It's so important to me. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, you guys, that's it for Phat Talk today. I will see you the next go round. Peace.